Weekend. Richardson Hitchins, fighter of the weekend, defends the IBF title in New York, in his hometown of New York. Well, he's from Brooklyn, but you get it. Five boroughs, defends it, dominates George Kambosos in 8 rounds. See, Raheem was busy commentating overseas in Ghana, so he has the Ghanaian soccer team jersey on. Probably the national team, if I had to guess. But so I had to go jersey for jersey. I had to bring out the Larry
Yo,
Johnson and not let Raheem have all the fun. But
Larry
Raheem, man, I'm gonna
Johnson,
let you cook. But
Grandmama, stand up.
say it again.
Say Larry Johnson, Grandmama, stand up. See, some of these young bloods, some of these whippersnappers, they don't know so much about the Grandmama. So you're gonna have to Google that when you get off this show, because that was a hell of a commercial promotion. Set the stage for real new NBA type of advertising. Yeah, iconic, iconic. There's a reason that the icon Sean is wearing the Grandmama. It's not just some player from the old school NBA. That is a wrinkle in time right there, my friend.
Right,
Well,
him in those Penny Hardaway commercials too, right?
that's it. Yep. Grandmama, Penny Hardaway, and of course Mars and Jordan. I
Yeah,
think those are the ones that really set the stage.
and Barkley. I'm not a role model. Like that changed the game.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hey man, Chuck became one of the best at what we do ever. Not just that,
Always
but
a
anyway.
skunk at the party. No, I think he's trash at this too.
Oh, jeez.
No, just like he never won a championship in the NBA, he should never win a golden mic on the sidelines or in the studio. Barkley is if you say like what we do, like you say like on the internet, like maybe he's one of the best trolls. Maybe not even. He's not even that funny. Like yeah, nah, nah. I'd take Iran Barkley over Charles Barkley any day.
Iran Barkley. Oh, shout out to Iran Barkley, the Blade. But
That's
yeah, hey, see, that's why we love
yeah,
Raheem because we
Bar
could all love, and you'd be like, "Nah, fuck that shit. It's lame." Yeah.
yeah. Iran Barkley is the Blade, and Charles Barkley is like Sling Blade.
Slim Blade. Okay.
Sling Blade. Remember that movie? All right, you
Uh,
have to Google that as well.
I like
You know,
said
like,
Slim Blade. That's how lost I was.
nah.
So, but anyway, but I digress, right?
We got sidetracked.
I digress. Richardson Hitchins defends the IBF title against George Kambosos Jr. Really good performance, really sharp performance. I want to start by giving some respect to George, who's always been a gentleman. I'm sure in your experience too, he's been great to deal with. Stand up kind of guy. Overachieved, made huge money. I would say maximized his value, but that would be an understatement. He over maximized his value, and was really had a hell of a night against Tio back in the Garden 4 years ago. This isn't the same George Kambosos. His body's not the same. I could see at the weigh-in when he moved up to 140, the lower ab area a little soft, and and Hitchins was wise to get to his body midway through that fight. Kambosos' conditioning's not the same as it once was. He had the stamina to finish strong against Tiafimo after getting dropped in that fight. Back-to-back fights now. Lomachenko in this fight where he's gassing earlier than he once did. And yeah, so he's fading before our eyes, but Hitchins, who some people would try to clarify as a safe boxer, had killer instinct in this fight and should be commended for that. He could have stayed behind his jab for all 12 rounds, 120 to 108, and just diced up his face. Maybe get a stoppage from the facial tissue of Kambosos breaking up, but no. By about round 5 and 6, he picked his gloves up, started stepping to him more often, started following up that excellent jab he has, started following it up with something, and got him out of there with a hell of a left hook to the body. He disarmed Kambosos right away. This was a clinic of boxing by Richardson Hitchins. This was if on the front foot the fundamentals are keeping your hands up and your elbows in and applying pressure and moving your head, he did the equivalent of that on the back foot. If there was a textbook, ABCs to back foot fighting, he did a lot of it last night. Just the jab and take away the other fighter's jab with your pull right hand. That's how you disarm the shorter fighter at long range. And he has a check hook to go behind it. And then once he settles down, Richardson Hitchins, once he feels like he's in his control and he's in his rhythm, he does start to rip some combinations and does start to land some good shots behind that jab. So He's fighting really well right now. He's growing and getting better right now as a champion. Um, Again, you got to contend. Well, people will say, well, Haney went 24 rounds with Kambosos. Hitchins takes him out in 8. What's that say about Haney? That some of that's fair, but that was a different Kambosos that was fighting Haney in that first fight and Teofimo Lopez. So you got to consider that. But all in all, really A plus performance from Richardson Hitchins. To critique, he's not unpredictable. He's not like Teofimo Lopez. His punch selection could be unpredictable, but Richardson Hitchins knows his identity in that ring. He knows his go-to moves. He knows his style. He believes in it. He trusts in it, and he's just fighting very well right now. I'd like to see that Devin Haney fight, but we'll get to that in a minute. I want to see who you think would win that and everything. But what'd you think of the fight, Raheem?
You're right to begin by crediting George Kambosos. What you have to remember about George, and you mentioned it, is that he really did overachieve and is continuing to overachieve. Last night, he got completely dominated, outclassed in every possible uh, category of boxing, and to me, still overachieved because he was back in that same space, still in a main event, challenging for a world title, and had an opportunity to do something that he really shouldn't be able to do again. Last night, he wasn't able to do something he shouldn't be able to do because Hitchison absolutely prevented that from being the case. However, it takes me back to the Lopez fight when nobody expected that, who didn't have an Australian accent anyway, for him to be in that fight seriously. We all knew he was going to put up as best a showing as he could, but the idea that he would be victorious, much less knock down Teofimo early in the fight, was unconscionable, unthinkable. And then get up off the ground or the canvas and 10 and finish the fight winning, going away. That is something that is seizing the moment when you have the opportunity. I don't think we saw the best Kambosos on that night. I'm sorry, we didn't see the best. Let me
Teofimo.
start.
Yeah.
May not have seen the best Teofimo Lopez on that night, but that's not Kambosos' fault. What he saw was an opportunity, and he was prepared to seize it in the moment. And he got that title and took that opportunity that he found in the garden, in the theater, that was presented to him by Lopez, unpredictable. In the moment, he stepped into it, seized the spotlight and the championships, and then carried that further than really you would even have expected him to do. Don't forget, there's 2 fights with Haney. He's got 1 in his backyard. I mean, who else is going to be able to stretch that moment as far as he did and stay entertaining? And yes, I would say the Haney fight probably wasn't the most exciting, but again, that wasn't down.
Second one was cool. Second one was better.
Yeah. Second one was better. Second bite at the apple. You should have figured a few things out. But the point is, I think in all those matchups, he's outclassed, really. Even in the win over Lopez, really stylistically, technically, talent-wise, he was outmatched and found a way to win because Lopez wasn't on his best game. And that's part of boxing as much as anything else. So to see him back on the top table in the main event, challenge for a world title at this stage, as you say, a fading fighter, sure, but because I think of his tenacity, his grit, that people know they're going to get an entertaining fight. He does wind you up during the fight week and press conference. He talks his way into fights. He gets into guys' heads. He makes them want to beat you and hopes that that triggers them to coming too fast, too forward, too soon. Hopefully gets them out of their game plan, trying to kill him. It's the only real way that he can best you while he's overachieving, if you overcommit. if he gets into your head and makes you want to kill him so he can turn it into a slugfest, that's his best opportunity. All that said, man, I hope that we have enough time to talk from Father's Day all the way till Mother's Day about the Richie Rich Hitchins.
Richie Rich took it Bay Area. See, there's so much going on right now. See, Raheem's wearing the Ghanaian soccer jersey, and Richardson's nickname is Africa. And then Raheem's from the Bay, and he references Richie Rich. Oh, so much going on right there. Go ahead, Raheem.
So much culture. It's the culture of boxing clashing as well, because Kambosos brings a certain culture to the sport that really, I don't want to overuse the Rocky analogy whenever you see a white guy fighting and not winning, but I mean, it's the spirit of it. It's the belief. It's the desire. It's the surefire entertainment you're going to get whether this fighter wins or loses. That's what Kambosos brings to the table. But the clinic that Richie Rich, and that's what I'm going to call him for the remainder of this pod, put
Rich.
on is I was thoroughly entertained, and I got to tell you, it was like watching a surgeon do a ballet while open heart surgery was underway. I mean, it was flawless to me. We talked last week about Abdullah Mason.
Yeah.
And some people took exception to me saying he was a street fighter. I think they may have taken it a bit wrong the way I was complimenting him with that. But at the same time, yes, there is something about being a street fighter that while it's entertaining, the criticism inside of that moniker is that he was taking unnecessary chances, I thought, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. That's what I meant by a street fighter. He was taking shots to give shots he didn't have to take just so he could get those shots off. He was throwing punches a little bit wide because they were flashier and could probably get more torque on them, but a cleaner, sharper shot, actually, we know, is more effective. I mean, it's just a mentality. There is some novice nature of his training corner, and they will grow into the sport and grow into the professional elements of what really works when you get at the highest level. These are potentially criticisms, but they are not jabs at him. No pun intended. They're really just observations and styles. Like styles make fights. Also, styles make entertainment. He's a very entertaining guy. But the difference between what you see from Abdullah Mason and what you saw from Richie Rich last night is what I'm talking about. That is the precision that I most am entertained by and most impressed by, the relaxed, calm nature of his execution, the absolute science as to how he delivered and selected each shot. And there were times down the stretch after he dropped Kambosos the first time, he decided to engage when he didn't have to. However, his defense wasn't porous at the time. He wasn't irresponsible with defense. He wasn't reckless with it. He knew he was taking a shot. He was blocking, rolling,
and he really took some of the steam out of Kambosos. It was calculated.
And there wasn't as much on the punches, so it was a calculation. And that's such a finite difference in what I'm talking about that maybe I can sometimes lose the audience and they don't understand the difference in what I'm saying. Neither one of these things is taking a jab at the guy. What I'm saying, though, is that what you want from a fighter when a perfect execution is underway is what you saw from Richie Rich last night. I mean, let's just talk about how he broke Kambosos down and stopped him with a body shot. How many fighters have you seen? He used upstairs to create a downstairs stoppage. And I believe he was working towards a body shot stoppage.
He was. He's a high IQ fighter. Oh, you're tired? You're tired? Well,
yeah.
Then I know exactly where to go to get you out of here.
Every announcer, or I should say every analyst or commentator will say, work the body, bring the hands down, you put the money in the bank. So that you
did all that.
You can extract that later upstairs. Don't go headhunting, all of that. How many times have you seen a fighter reverse it? I really believe he was using the upstairs to create opportunities downstairs. He didn't put money in the bank. He robbed the bank. He said, look over here, look over here, look over here, look over here. And then he took all the money out of the bank in one fell swoop. This is what I'm talking about, Sean. This is what I'm talking about. That's what you want to see. I think sky's the limit for this guy. And I understand it was simple also. Wasn't flashy, wasn't a whole bunch of different shot variations. He just used what he needed. He did exactly what was necessary.
1, the 2, and the 3.
Nothing more than needed. And he was so calm, so relaxed, knew exactly what he was doing at every moment. And that was a picture perfect shot that dropped and stopped Kambosos, not only because of the way it was delivered, but more so because the way it was set up. Watch this fight back. It's what you want to see from an up-and-coming fighter. I'm a fan. Not like I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan before in the sense that I knew he was a talented guy. We'll see where it's going. If there's something
he's all right.
Excites me. Yeah, okay, let's see. But like I say, always when we have these prospects or you have these new world champions and everybody's talking about how good they are or how good they might be, I need to see something. Excite me, make me say, oh, I see now that you are special in a situation where you need to be special to win. Yes, he outclasses Kambosos, and sure, he's got more talent, but Kambosos is a game fighter. He was in there trying to win. And it wasn't just that you beat him, it's how you beat him that made it special. That impressed me so much. And then the fact that even, I mean, talk about a moment that encapsulates the whole thing. He looks over in the pocket. He's not at arm's distance. They're not across the ring. It's not Kambosos on the canvas or laying against the rope, so he just steps back and takes a moment to talk shit. He's in the pocket, looks over Kambosos' shoulder and tells his father, if you love your son, you'll stop this. Bro, I got choked up. I got choked up. It's the kind of shit I
You were
love.
moved by the performance.
I was, I was moved. I was moved. That's the kind of shit talk that keeps me in the game, baby.
Yeah. That's good, man. And for Kambosos too, it really wasn't a lack of trying. Like if you remember, Kambosos beat Tiafimo with his lead hand low and coming in and out. He did his homework. He tried to come in with the high guard, and he never really got away from his jab. The one punch he got in about a half dozen times, he got a little right hook to the body in a few times when he was able to get a little close, and he
Good
got
shots to the body.
yeah, got some
Good.
couple good, yeah, some good shots to the body. Hitchins took him well. And this fight, so every now and then fights just teach you things. This fight I was taking away from it. It really is hard to beat a good boxer with good feet, good IQ, good jab, throwing one or two punches at a time, especially if you don't have fight-changing power. If you can't just touch him on the arm and the next time you're in range to throw, make them brace a little bit, make them react and think just like, oh shit, I don't even want that touching my arms or, and that was the case. Like Kambosos can punch. He dropped Lopez, but that was at 35. He's at 40 now. So if those shots can't make a guy like Hitchins, just react a little bit, and then he's gonna settle down and you're cooked, and that this fight, yeah.
Let me, because he did, Kambosos, land some very, very nice body. I would say the body work was the best work of the night for him. And
For
it was a
sure.
few different moments where I was like, ooh, you know what I mean? But what Richie Rich was doing was even with the body punches, like on the arm punches, he was rolling them a little bit, not over slipping, but just enough to take a little bit off of him, almost like the Canelo, head turn, like he just.
Yeah, the
And then he would come back with the counter there and try to get Kambosos with a counter punch. So yes, I would think beating up the arms and getting to the body should have been effective for Kambosos, but even in that, Richie had an answer. He had something to just take enough off of it where he stays in the pocket and doesn't get hurt. But when he did that, sometimes it would open up another body shot, and that's when Richie was getting hit clean. It just wasn't nearly enough or often enough to change the momentum of the fight at all. But credit Kambosos with some very clean body work and the proper game plan. That's what he
yeah.
should have been doing.
Yeah, he had the right game plan. It's just, you get outgunned by the better fighter on the night, and that's how that game goes. But something to keep in mind as I think about like Canelo Crawford is Canelo, if he can't make Crawford weary of that power, just when it hits him on the arms or whatever, he's in trouble because it's hard to beat a guy with a busy jab and smart feet with one or two punches at a time. It's so much easier said than done, but you got to find a way to get more than one or two out of there. And you got to make the third or fourth punch set up by the first or second punch, knowing the first or second punch is going to miss. And you almost got to use that against them. I'm going to throw this right hand and I know you're going to slip it, whatever direction you're going to slip it. And I've already done my homework or I've already adjusted to you in the middle of a fight. Got to have a high IQ to offset the other high IQ and all that. So we'll see. But
You know what else I want to see, Sean, from since we were touching on Crawford, Canelo? I don't like all this interviewing together and well disrespect and we'll see who's the best and that's why we fight the fights in these this odd couple commercial shit. I want to see that post fight energy we saw from Richie Rich calling out Devin Haney yet again. Picture perfect. I'm not a guy that really likes super disrespect or a lot of vulgarity.
But it was
However,
simple and to the
it
point.
was it was simple to the point and pitch perfect. I'm already tired of talking about Canelo Crawford because the truth is, we don't know. The way this metric is set up, it's just like, yes, I can make a case for either guy and a convincing one. It matters who shows up on the night and how they show up, and we just won't know until the night. I think the weight differential, all the shit that can make a difference or maybe doesn't make a difference at all. The ability of both fighters being so high level, but having faced each other at this weight class at this time in their careers with their differing styles is just it's too much to calculate. Anybody who tells you they know for sure it's going to happen really ever in boxing is a full time liar. But in this one, people are just fucking bloviating. You're just talking shit about what might and could be, and I could do that from either side of that equation endlessly. So I'm sick of it. What I want to talk about, what I want to be able to discuss is how they're shit talking each other. I want to hear Canelo cursing Crawford in his iconic Canelo American English cursing.
You're
I
too
want to
small,
hear,
motherfucker.
yeah, exactly. I want to see Crawford more into this fight than he was Spence. I want to see him come out of his character and get after Canelo and wind him up and maybe play some head games. I'd like to talk about that element of the fight if it existed. But these kind of very nice, polite, respectful interviews, I can't put up with this until September. Something's got to change. Maybe I got to send Crawford a box of bananas.
Oh Jesus! Well, you went there. You on your own went there.
And sign
Um,
it, Canelo.
but
Yes.
but okay, so you like the way Richie Rich calls out. It's funny because Devin Haney is from the Bay, but you're giving Richardson Hitchins, the Brooklyn Bull, you're giving him the Bay Area moniker. I don't know. I think that's telling. But
I want to see
what do
that
you think of
fight.
the fight? What do you? I pitched this fight late last year at 140 for Hitchins' title. I said, look, Haney after that Garcia fight shouldn't get in there with a puncher. He should get in there with Jack Catterall, Sandor Martin, or Richardson Hitchins would be the best of that bunch, I thought. And it's a great look. If you like your pure boxing, because some people go, "Oh, it's going to be a jab fest. It's going to be boring." Look, if you like your pure boxing, and by the way, I think high speed chess could break out. It could just be chess, jab for jab, positioning for all that, but I think behind their jabs, the fight could get busier than people think. And you could see a lot of elite level hand speed and a lot of good stuff. I like the fight. Devin Haney is talking about it needs to happen at 47. Jaron Ennis is reportedly, if Eddie Hearn says, is moving up. So I could see the IBF freeing up that title for Richardson and Haney to compete for that title. That sounds good. I like the fight.
I
Hitchins,
like
I
the
think
fight at
right now
140.
deserves, huh?
I like the fight at 140.
I'm with
I
you.
like
No, I'm with you. I'm with
listen.
you. But I'm with you. But hey, Haney seems to not want to make that weight class anymore. But I'm with you.
But
That
okay, he doesn't want to, but can he? He can make 140, can't he? I don't
good
think he's too
question.
big for 140. I don't think he's grown out of that weight class.
Hmm.
I mean, all right. I'm not
Hmm.
even worried about the titles, man. I think that fight at 47 is not as good as it is at 40. I want them lean, I want them quick, I want them sharp, I want
Neither one's
the
ever fought at 47.
power. Huh?
Neither one's I mean, Devin fought Ramirez at welterweight, but not at the welterweight limit. So neither one's ever
Yeah.
fought at welterweight. They both have been champions at 140. Hitchens currently is. I'm with you. I'm
My
with you.
point. This is where they're at their best. I think that's where the fight would be at its best. And yeah, I think Devin needs something to counteract that stinker in New York, and this is the fight for that. You can't run this fight. You cannot disengage. You'll destroy your brand if you let Richie Rich get in there and chase you around the ring. That fight, I think, is going to be one where both guys want to really prove that they can outclass the other one. That we will see exactly what Devin Haney still has in the tank and in his tool chest, and make him go to all the different devices that he can and will need to, because what we've seen from Richie Rich, yes, in last night's affair, was simplicity at its best. But I want to see if variety is necessary, or if he's one of these guys that can keep it simple and beat the complex. That styles make matchups. That's part of this narrative for me. I think there's more there, but I also know from what I saw last night that he's not going to use more than what he needs. So let's see what he needs for Haney. And if it's more than he thinks it is, what else he has if he has to make an adjustment in the fight. There's so many ways we can talk about that one. I'm excited just at the prospect. That's how I know it's the fight. I saw Lopez in there. Obviously, I've made a reference to his racist trolling with the banana box, but I also, it's such an odd guy, man. I can't, if I'm honest, I can't even put a beat on it. Like last night, whatever. I mean, they were trying to tee up, that fight. And I'll say again what I said before, in the sense that I'm not excited to see him fight anybody. It's nothing to do with his skills. It's not nothing to do with, who might win or who he could beat or what the challenges are. I'm over the guy right now. You know what I mean? I need to see a different act. I need to see, like, drop this character. Like he was fine last night. He was cordial to an extent. Like, his little ringside interview was whatever. I'm not mad at the cursing, whatever. It's just, I'm just not interested. Just not interested. And I think, the Haney, or I should say the Lopez that I saw in the theater when he did fight Kambosos, that guy, I would have hoped would have matured and become more interesting, as I said in a previous conversation with you. And now I just don't believe what we're looking at is authentically who this guy is. And I'm not sure he knows who he is right now. And so that's why all his interviews are awkward and they seem a little put on, and he's not really engaging in conversation that is really making a lot of sense. He's kind of, he's saying enough to where it's somewhat responsive to the question, but at the same time,
Word
there's
salads.
something really awkward and weird about it. And I think that's because he's not being himself and he's still trying to put on some shtick. And it's not selling. I can't wait till he's past this phase and we can find out who Teofimo Lopez really is, and then get back interested in what he can do.
Well, just to close on Haney and Hitchins, you said it'd be interesting because Hitchins is the fundamentals work so well for him in his style. Does he have to go beyond that? The Haney's bread and butter, his best punch has been his jab, and he might meet his match here against Hitchins. But Haney, when he was firing on all cylinders, I don't know if I'd pick Richardson Hitchins to beat the Devin Haney that beat Regis Prograis, but that was a year and a half ago and pre-Ryan Garcia 3 knockdown fight. So this isn't that Haney right now. At least he didn't show that version of himself against Ramirez. What's interesting about the fight is, again, Haney might meet his match with his best weapon, his jab. But Haney, when he's firing on all cylinders, showed us a deeper bag than Richardson Hitchins. Showed us just the deeper bag, a little bit more counter punching, Richardson's really sharp with that pull right hand, but Devin would mix it up more. He would try more things. He would try to, reach into his bag deeper than Hitchins, but Hitchins may have the superior primary weapons. So that's what I like about that fight. And Hitchins is going this way, and Haney is coming. I don't want to say this.
What a perfect time to fight. They're meeting right here, and it can go like this in a single night. That's what all the things that you just said, the way I teed it up. There's a million ways to tee this one up because those variables are exciting and fascinating. So yes, I agree 100%, Sean.
Haney's been here. Hitchins is climbing there. Haney wants to stay here. So let make it happen. And Bill Haney is calling Devin Debo Haney now, right? Right, Raheem?
Stop it.
Pull up on the block. Pull up on the block. Fight the champion in Brooklyn. Go back to the scene of the crime with Ryan Garcia. Don't think about this. This would be a great look for Haney if he could be successful in this. If you were to go to Brooklyn, where the Garcia fight happened, Hitchins' hometown, take his belt off of him. Now that would be Debo Haney. So pull up on the block. Pull up in Brooklyn. Take the belt off the champ.
Yeah, it would be more like Smokey taking the block over.
Come on,
I,
man.
I don't see the Debo in all this. I listen, Smokey could have won those fights. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? For a
Right,
minute,
right. He never tried it. He never
he
tried.
never tried it.
Never tried to
So,
fight.
you
Yeah.
know,
Oh boy. What was his name again in the movie? Debo. Well, Debo. Debo. But I was gonna call him Lester Tiny or whatever his real name was. Yeah.
but yeah, what was it? Was the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase?
Yeah.
That's who Bill Haney is. Bill Haney is Ted DiBiase, and he thinks that his son is Zeus. So you
Zeus.
know what I mean?
Right.
like,
Hey,
uh,
if he
but
if he goes to Brooklyn and takes the belt off Hitchins, I'll call him Debo Haney. First thing I'll call him on this show right here.